Hello everyone and welcome aboard the beautiful MSC Seashore for today's ship tour. If you're new to the channel and you're unfamiliar with my tours, we start all the way at the very top and very front and work our way all the way to the bottom. Anyways, we're going to skip to deck 19 as we have a look at top 19, which is a exclusive area. You do have to pay a little extra to go in here, so I wasn't able to get any clips of this, but nonetheless, deck 19 forward, you're able to access top 19. And then, of course, right here, we have a look at the retractable roof for one of the main pools. And then the funnel as we start to make our way back here on board the ship. And of course, as we begin to do that, make sure you subscribe down below if you want to see all the MSC Seashore content I've got here on the channel. And of course, leave a like if you enjoyed today's tour. But moving on back, we have one of the main water slides. This one is actually the raft slide. So this one you're traveling in a little inner tube, making your way down to deck 18 down below. And of course, right in the middle, as we kind of spin ourselves, we have a really awesome pirate-themed, shipwreck kind of themed water park for the kids' areas. There's even a little climbing section, if you can see that one kid up in the corner there. And then we have the other side here where we have the two body slides. These are little racers, so you can kind of go down at the same time. Moving on back, still on 19, but we're going to overlook deck 18 here for one of the main pools found here on the MSC Seashore. This is one of the staples for this class of ship, as this is kind of the main pool, although it's typically found in the center of the ship on most other cruise ships. Very, very nice big area though. We do have the main pool bar here right underneath where we were just standing, so we're now on deck 18. And if we kind of round the corner here just a little bit, there is a place where you can grab a quick thing of gelato. Continuing back though, we're going to continue our way past the pool here. We have a little bit of a stage area, and then of course the main movie. They were actually playing some football on this. I think this is the football playoffs going on right now. So that was a big place to watch. And then moving on back behind this is actually where you're going to find one of the staples of this class of ship. And one of the coolest things is the glass elevators that overlook the back of the ship. So just go right through this little glass door here, right behind the TV screen, and you'll find those elevators right here. Skipping down to deck 16 right below, there is no deck 17 for the Superstition. Same with deck 13 on most ships, but there is a 13 here. We have a little outdoor seating area for the Marketplace Buffet. And then here, of course, we have a look at the Bridge of Sighs, which is one of the most iconic pieces of the ship and one of the most incredible areas. You got that clear, transparent floor beneath you, and then you have a great look over on the back. And then, of course, right off to the side of that, on the opposite side there, we have the Sky Bar if you want to grab a drink. And then heading into the most important part of the ship, the Marketplace Buffet. This is a very, very large buffet here on this ship. I never really found an issue with finding a table, so always good to know, even during the peak times. Sometimes it was hard to find a window seat, but overall trying to find an actual seat itself wasn't ever that bad, so good to know. As you get to the exit of the Marketplace Buffet there, it spits you out into the main pool area. Here we have just the generic pool bar off to our right-hand side here, but then we have a look at the main pool. We got a couple hot tubs on each side of the pool, and then a very nice large pool. And again, that roof in the middle is retractable, so this indoor pool becomes an outdoor pool. But very, very nice, and they did open this quite a bit. They usually just had it closed during the cold weather as it was a chilly weekend here in Central Florida. We're going to move back up to 18. This is just a upper level of it, but foosball, ping pong, and there is even a pool table over on the other side. Here we have Do Re Mi Land. This is included in just kind of in that middle section of deck 18 by that pool. That is the kids club for, I believe, the younger kids. And here's that pool table I was referencing. Very nice little area. I remember my girlfriend and I would sit up here for a little bit of time just every day and relax a little bit. But then if you spin around and head down this hallway here, there is another entrance for a different one of the kids clubs here for the different age brackets. But then at the end of the hallway, you have the Hall of Games, which is the video arcade found on board. As you enter the video arcade, you're going to be greeted with one of the coolest parts, in my opinion, the F1 simulator. If you are a gold status and above in their loyalty program, you get one free ride on that. That's what I got to do. It was really cool. Definitely try it out. They also have a little raft simulator. And then, of course, now as you continue on back there, you're going to have your more traditional video games and things like that or arcade games that you're gonna find in the arcade, your little ticket collectors, things like that. We're gonna turn around and head to the front of the ship because if we continue to the back side of the arcade, we would end up in that big pool area in the back of the ship. But here we are, deck 16, all the way forward. We have access to the MSC Yacht Club. This is kind of like a haven area if you're familiar with NCL. We're going to skip all the way down to deck 8 now, as there is nothing between decks 9 and deck 15. Those are all cabins. So here we are, deck 8 forward. We have a look into the spa. And of course, right in the middle there, we have a look into the gym. There's even a barber shop here on board, which is kind of cool. And of course, as we head out towards the middle of the ship, we have one of my favorite spots here on the ship. This is the Times Square Atrium area here on board. Of course, this is still on deck 8, looking down to 7 and 6 at the bottom there. Live music down at the bottom, very cool. We'll get there in a minute. But off to one side, we do have the sports bar. This is a huge place. There was a big football game going on whenever we were on the ship, and very, very packed in here, and it looked like a very, very fun atmosphere. As we come out of the sports bar, we have a look at the Ola Cantina bar, which is, of course, serving Ola Cantina, or Ola, the specialty dining restaurant. This is the cheaper of most of the dining restaurants. But, of course, this is Mexican-themed restaurant here. Heard pretty good things about it. I didn't try it myself, but I heard pretty good things. But then, of course, off to the other side here, we have a look into the main atrium. This has to be one of the prettiest atriums I have ever seen on a cruise ship. Very, very nice. And of course, those are diamond crystal staircases. So cool. Continue on forward, though, we have the wine cellar, which is, of course, just a little wine bar on board. I'm going to take a little step inside. And of course, you can see all the wine racks inside the little display cases there, and a couple of nice long tables and other things like that. So if you want to grab a glass of wine at the end of the day, pretty good spot. Heading on back, we have a look at the Butcher's Cut, which is the specialty steakhouse found on board the MSC Seashore. This is, of course, one of the pay-to-eat places, but one really cool thing I noticed is that this seems to be the only place that had the outdoor seating out on that lower outdoor promenade area, so that was really cool. This place, though, I did try out. This is Kaito Teppanyaki. This is the Japanese hibachi restaurant. I paid about $50 per person, or maybe just a little bit under that. But it was a different package. I don't remember exactly what I had, but overall, the experience was very great, and the food was very, very good. I overall think it was great, especially the value compared to what you pay for the same restaurant comparison on other cruise lines. But here we have, of course, a little lounge as well. And just another look at Kaito Teppanyaki there. Again, great food. I always like a good hibachi restaurant, and I definitely say this is up there with some of the better ones that I've had on board a ship. As you head down the hallway, though, next to Kaito, you're going to find the sushi bar built into Kaito, sort of. But this one's really cool because if you can see in this little shot here, you actually have the little conveyor belts, but it'll actually take around little cups of sushi to you when you sit at the bar here. So it's really neat. Moving on back, we have Ocean Cay, which is ironically the name of the private island here in the Bahamas for MSC Cruises, but this is also the name of the seafood restaurant found on board the MSC Seashore. Didn't try this one either. We really only tried the hibachi, really. But overall, I heard some pretty good things about it. So if you're a seafood fan, you should definitely try this one out. And last up here on deck 8, before we make our way outside, we have the Uptown Lounge, which is just a nice little lounge area found in the back of the ship. Lots of couches, a nice bar, seating. Looks like they could probably host maybe a comedy show or something back here. Not really sure. But nonetheless, it's really cool because then, of course, those elevators that look out the back of the ship, they actually spit you out into this little hallway here, if you can see. And then, of course, it also leads you outside. And, of course, this outdoor area here in the back was one of my personal favorites as well. Very, very nice open area. Nothing really ever like it on any other ship other than maybe the Prima class from Norwegian, but even not quite to this extent. But you get this cool little walkway that takes you down the center of it with 2 infinity pools on each side. And then as you turn around here, you get a look at the superstructure of the ship, of course, and you get a look at the bar that's here on our right-hand side, and there's another Venchi gelato stand on our left. As I mentioned earlier, Butcher's Cut is the only restaurant that has the outdoor seating area, but here's a look at it as you have all the tables here. Again, that is the specialty dining for the steakhouse dinner on board the MSC Seashore. Anyways, moving on. Here we have just a look heading down. There's really not a whole lot going on down here, but lots of great places just to view outside the ship. And of course, lots of loungers as well. So it's a great relaxation area when you don't have to be all the way up on the top of the ship. So it's very unique in that sense. As we move forward, here we have the Infinity Bridge. This is found on each side of the ship. This is one of the coolest parts of the ship, of course, because as you can see, just like the Bridge of Sighs, this has that transparent and glass flooring. That way you can kind of see right down below you. So this wraps all the way up to the other side of this little glass section of the ship here that's covering the atrium. We're going to skip inside, of course, and still on deck 8, we're just going to head down the other direction. So we are continuing back forward as we only really favored the other side here. So moving on back, we have a look at the gift shops that's on board. Here you can buy all sorts of MSC logo merchandise, even some Legos, which I thought was really cool. I have one of those. And one of my personal favorites, the ship models. Very, very cool. That big one in the middle is not for sale. I asked. And then moving on back, though, we have the shore excursions desk if you want to book any shore excursions during your cruise here. Even though if it's a Bahamas cruise or if you're going all the way into the Western Caribbean, you can just book some excursions if you want to. Heading on back, though, we have the jewelry store off to our left-hand side here as we move on back past the Liberty Plaza. And last up here on our list for deck number 8, we have the Brooklyn Cafe, which seems to be a little coffee shop, cafe, bar, everything kind of mixed into one here. So kind of cool. I never really went in here other than like on the very last night, but seems like a cool little vibe. Deck 7 all the way forward, though, we have the Madison Theater. This is the upper entrance for it. There is also a lower entrance down below on deck 6. And then, of course, now that we start making our way back, we have the MSC Signature Casino. As you can see, we're now in that middle section of that big Times Square area. Again, one of my favorite spots. Very, very nice, cool area. But, of course, you can see all the slot machines and, of course, the casino bar with even a replica of the Statue of Liberty right in the middle of the casino bar. This has very heavy New York vibes here on the ship. And I believe her sister Seascape is Chicago themed. So really, really cool. So if you're from those cities, I feel like that's a really cool tribute. And of course, this is just a bit of an art sculpture here, but nonetheless kind of completes the vibe. It looks really, really cool. And as you come out of the casino, though, it's going to spit you out into the atrium here with some champagne and wine bars on each side. Another quick little random shop here, but this is a watches and sunglasses shop, so kind of cool. And then off to the side here, it's just more extra seating and just little lounge areas. If you want to hang out in the atrium overall, and of course, this is also for that champagne bar that we just walked by. Moving on back, we have Fifth Avenue. This is one of 4 main restaurants or main dining rooms here on board the beautiful MSC Seashore. The dining rooms here for main dining are pretty small, but again, there are 4 different ones, but this one here, of course, is one of the 4, and we'll get to the rest here in just a little bit. But as you make your way past, we have one of the coolest things, I feel like, is this just interesting little tunnel as you start to make your way back. But continuing on back, as you come out of there, they have this little photo op point with a little LED screen behind you in case you want to get some pictures taken as if you were riding in a little hot air balloon. It was pretty cool. Just after that, we have the Manhattan Restaurant. This is the second of 4 of the main dining rooms here. This one, of course, is almost at the very end, right before you get to Le Cabaret Rouge. This one's a smaller and additional show lounge. Of course, you got a little bit of a smaller stage, a cool little concept to it, though. There's no exit down there on that bottom level, but you've got this giant lounge and, of course, all the windows back there in the back. And yeah, just kind of a unique little show lounge area. Moving on down to deck number 6 aft, we have the Tribeca Restaurant. This is the third now of 4 main dining rooms here. Moving on back into the atrium here on deck number 6, we have the Shine Bar, which is basically similar to that wine and champagne bar that we had here earlier. This is more of just a generic everything type bar, though. Nice views of the atrium, and of course you get a look at the little stage area as well where they do some of the live performances at night. Here we have a look at the second, for some reason there's 2 different shore excursions desks, so if you didn't like the location of the other one, I guess, you can book some other shore excursions here. And then moving back down this little hallway here, just lots of display cases. But then at the end, we have one of my favorite spots. I say that a lot. But right before we get there, we have the duty-free shop where you can grab some snacks, liquors, things like that. of course, in that duty-free shop there. But here's my favorite spot on board the ship, Venchi. This is the chocolate and gelato place on board, and you can also get some specialty coffees. You could even get a chocolate ship model. Very good. I actually got one. I ate it. It was very, very good. Very chocolatey. This part of Deck 6, you're going to find just a few more luxury item type stores like this fine watches. You're even going to find a little bit of a higher end clothing store. But this, of course, is the lowest level of the Manhattan area, or the Times Square area. As, of course, again, there's a piano, there's live music every single night, and there's always people dancing out on this little dance floor. It's a awesome area. I remember I always like to hang out here for a few minutes every night. But amazing area. And it was just another one of those clothing stores that I just mentioned earlier. And then all the way forward on deck number 6, this is just a very long hallway, but this will eventually spit you out into the lower section of the Madison Theater. We're going to start deck 5 in the back and make our way forward here, but we have the Central Park Restaurant, which is now the 4th of 4 main dining rooms here. This is actually the one that I tried out myself, and this one is actually very, very good. It was actually Italian night, so you can see everybody swinging the towels around that were all Italian flag colored. Moving on into midship, though, we have the final and bottom level of the main atrium here. We have the Seashore Bar, which is, of course, just your typical atrium bar. You want to grab yourself a drink with a nice little view of this beautiful, beautiful atrium. Here we have the next cruise, or the future cruise desk here, and, of course, over in this little room over here, there's a few actual agents over there in that room. But if you want to book a new future cruise, definitely go do that there. And guest services is found down here as well. Moving on forward, we have the photo gallery. This is where you can either get printouts or digital copies of your photos that you get taken on board. And of course, as you come out to the end here, we have a look at the MSC Foundation shop area. This is kind of their marine conservation brand, but anything like that. And then, of course, just a look at that sculpture there at the bottom. But nonetheless, that's going to wrap up our tour of the beautiful MSC Seashore. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tour. If you did, leave a like, even share it if you have anybody or know anybody that's going on this ship soon. And of course, subscribe to the channel as well if you want to stay up to date with all of my upcoming MSC Seashore content, as we got videos coming from every single day on board. Anyways, thank you again for watching. We'll see you next time.